boys and girls, it's Miss Suzanne. Today we are going to hear the story Radio Man again for the third time because we love this story. It is so much fun to hear and listen to. And if you remember, we read this book 2 times. We heard it in English and we heard it in Spanish. And I think that you guys really enjoy it. I'm not sure, but I think you do. And I wanted to ask you some questions about the book and maybe look through it again. So the first question I'm going to ask you is, Arthur Dorros, is that the author and the illustrator? Yes or no? If you said yes, kiss your brain. You're right. Arthur Dorros wrote the words and drew the pictures of this story, Radio Man. Radio Man is the title of the book. Now, do you remember when we heard this book 2 times before who the Radio Man is and who calls him that? Who remembers that? Why is this called Radio Man? If we were in school, I would be asking all of you that question and I'd be waiting for someone to answer and raise their hand. But because we're not in school, I'm going to ask you and I want you to think, who is the Radio Man and who calls him that? See if you can remember. Think about it, and if you aren't sure, I'm going to give you a little hint. So when we read this book, okay, we're going to go through some of the pages here. We have Diego right here, who is waking up to sounds of a voice on the radio. This is a radio where you hear sounds and music and people's voices. And the words were in English and the words were in Spanish. Okay, so he's waking up to that and he's hearing a horn outside his window. Beep, beep. Okay, now on this page, if you see this page, it says right here in the story, Diego's friend David says, "Hey, Radio Man." David called him Radio Man because Diego was always listening to the radio. So who calls him Radio Man? David. If you said David, you're right. David, Diego's friend, calls Diego Radio Man because he's always listening to the radio. That's why he's called Radio Man. Do you remember what kind of work does Diego's family do? Remember? Let's see if you can remember. Maybe this picture will help you figure it out. So this is Diego's family, and David's family also does the same kind of a job. They were migrant farm workers. Can you say migrant farm workers? Say it with me. Migrant farm workers. Migrant farm workers. That means they traveled most of each year to find work picking fruits and vegetables. So they drove in their car and they found lots of different places where they can pick different fruits and vegetables. In this picture, they were cabbage picking. And these boxes seemed really heavy for them, right? Yeah, so they traveled from place to place, picking fruits and vegetables, right? Look at them in the car here. Right, so he went from all these different places and he had to move around a lot. And Diego has had to say goodbye to a good friend. Remember? Do you think they'll see each other again? Do you think Diego will ever see his friend again? I hope so. I really hope so. Okay, so let's read a little bit and see if we can remember some more parts of the story. So that's them driving from place to place. And they're he's listening to the radio in this place. Okay. Now in this picture, this is the melon farm. This is where Diego's family found more work. And his cousins Sophie and Ernesto were there. Their family had also found work here. He hadn't seen these cousins in a really long time, so he must be so happy to see them. Okay. Now in this picture, there was a party with music, food, and a piñata to celebrate the end of melon picking. They were so happy. The next day, Diego's family started the long drive to the cherry farms. Ooh, cherry farms must be really delicious. I love cherries. Who loves cherries? I love cherries. Okay, let's see. Ooh, what's happening here? Does this look like morning or does this look like nighttime? Yes, I think it looks like nighttime because look, the moon is out, the sun is out, it's dark, and everything is quiet. Oh, now look what's happening. Can anybody see what's happening here? Let's see. Looks like some boys are riding bikes and playing jump rope. Right? That's the morning. Okay, so look what happened here in this picture. They're at the cherry farm picking cherries. Okay, oh, look at this. Papa drove until fog swirled around the truck. They're always in that car, right? Diego heard the ocean waves crashing. And then the radio played again to tell them that they were in a new state. And they're driving through redwood trees. Look how big those trees are. One tree had a tunnel big enough to drive through. Whoa, that would be awesome. So they kept driving and driving, and they came to a roadside store to get something to drink and to eat. A woman was looking at melons, trying to find a ripe one to buy. Ripe means ready to buy, ready to eat. If you have fruit and vegetables that are ripe, that means that you can eat them right away. They're just right. Okay, ooh, look at this picture right here. Does anybody remember what's happening in this picture? These are orchards. Orchards are places that have lots of fruits on their trees. That's an orchard. And this is a picture of him answering the telephone. And who's on the phone? The phone was somebody's cousin. Diego listened to the messages and to the telephone number, and he ran to the telephone and he called the station. The announcer said, "Buenos dias, do you have a message?" Diego did have a message. "Hello, David, this is Diego. Are you here?" Diego heard his own voice on the radio. Wow, so cool. And was his friend listening? Yes, his friend was listening and he heard everything he said. The end. I like this book a lot. I wonder, have you guys ever picked fruits and vegetables from a tree or from an orchard? I have. I once went apple picking and it was a lot of fun. So I wonder, how do you think Diego feels about having to move so much? Would you like to get up and move every single year? So if you went to Star Mountain for pre-K, what if you went someplace else for kindergarten and someplace else for first grade and someplace else for second grade? How do you think you'd feel? I think I would like moving a little bit so I can make new friends, but it is hard to leave people you know and love. I just did that in August. I just moved here from New York in August, and I miss all my friends. But I got to meet you. And what do you think Diego's parents and abuelos say to Diego when he's sad about having to move? Do you think they say, I'm so sorry you feel sad? Do you think they say, you're going to see your friend one day? What would your family say to you if you had to move and you felt sad? Maybe they'll say, you'll have a good time in your new home. Maybe they'll say you'll make a lot of friends, right? So I hope you guys like the book, but I want to show you one more thing before we say goodbye. These are my picture cards of all the vocab from Radio Man. Let's see if you guys can name all the pictures. Radio, truck, crops, harvest, fruit, vegetables, cabbages, clap, mountains, cactus, bird, melon. Which one of these words do you like? I like the word cactus because a cactus plant is really fun and spectacular. Can you guys say some of these words? School, Gila monster, piñata, cherry, butterfly, tree, roadside store, apple tree, telephone, and friends. My favorite for sure is friends. I love my friends. So I hope you guys liked listening to Radio Man's story. It was really great reading it to you guys. And if you have any questions about the book, you can always call me. You can call Mrs. A and ask us any questions you want. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.